What's up, Recovery Warriors? It's me, Lona C, and welcome to the Rise Up Recovery YouTube channel. Once again, I'm your host, Lona C, and I am the founder of Hope and Recovery Network and Hope and Recovery Ministries. If you're watching this video, that means that you have taken a valuable step in your recovery, and I want to congratulate you. In order to achieve true lasting recovery, we must be hungry for change and willing to reach out for every resource available to us. Here at Rise Up Recovery Channel and on our Facebook sister page of Hope and Recovery Network, we provide a safe place for you to access topics that are relevant to you wherever and whenever you need. We offer proven methods for creating lasting change in your life and want to help you become the light that illuminates your destiny. Especially if you're attending an MAT program, because listen, it's not easy, it's a process. And I urge you to beware of any program that offers you a quick fix. What I can promise you is through every method we use or share here on the Rise Up Recovery Channel, it works if you wholeheartedly put it into practice in your life. There's no program in this world that can change your life while someone else does the work. But I can guarantee you positive results, but only if you are ready to drop the blame and excuses and join me, Lona C, on the journey of real life recovery success. Now let's dive in with video 2 with our Warrior of the Week. This is my good friend Jennifer Hatcher. Jennifer, this is everybody. This is YouTube. And so I want to tell you guys a little bit about Jennifer Hatcher. She is one of the most inspiring women that I know. I, in fact, think of her almost every morning when I wake up, because that's what we got to find in this recovery life. We got to find people that inspire us. We have to keep those people around us, and it's about going out and changing your people, places, and things. And I've known Jennifer for quite a few years. In fact, we were in an outpatient program together. So I met Jennifer. I've known her since it was, what did we say, 2014, right? Mm-hmm. 2014. And when I met Jennifer, even though she was always the beautiful woman that you see sitting here, she was actually in a wheelchair. She weighed 363 pounds. Now, you guys, that's an amazing feat in itself. So you already know, you're looking at this, gorgeous woman here, and she's already lost all of this weight. I mean, more than half her body weight. So you already know her story is outrageously inspiring, just because she walks all by herself, no wheelchair, no nothing. But you haven't even heard the most inspiring of her life and her journey. And so I hope that I am able to bring it across to you as impactful as it truly is. Because what we've got to know is every single day when we wake up, we're fighting a battle that not a lot of people understand unless you're going through it. And so if you're really serious about recovery, and you're really serious about finding complete and creating lasting change in your life, well, then you've got to go out and get stuff. It is about being hungry. It's about doing whatever it takes, because your life depends on it, and it does. And so this is my good friend Jennifer Hatcher, and like I said, we met in 2014, and Jennifer was 363 pounds. She was in a wheelchair. Not very long after we knew each other, she lost her young son, but we will get to that in just a minute. First, I'd like to dive into where Jennifer's journey started, because she also battles, she's in recovery herself. She battles an opioid, a substance use disorder, with opioids being her drug of choice. And so we want to talk about that. Let's talk about her journey first, and then we will talk about just how inspiring she truly is. So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about your struggle, how it started, when it started. What was about 2007? You were saying 2005?
2005, 2006.
Okay.
I caught rheumatic fever, and my system shut down, and arthritis set in, and they had me on pain patches, MS cotton, roxycodones.
So, and you didn't really have a knowledge of what opioid pain medicines were before that point, did you?
I didn't.
You felt
not the addiction.
Not the addiction part. I mean, we all knew that at that time, that's what they gave for pain. We all kind of knew that, but we really didn't know that there was a big addiction, behind this. But you knew yourself after a very short period of time that you were being overprescribed, correct?
Right.
And so tell us about, tell us about that moment when you knew, okay, something's wrong.
When it was controlling my life.
Oh, gotcha.
When it was controlling my life, and I couldn't function without it.
Man, that's powerful, because it happens for a lot of us. We think, a doctor prescribes it. It comes from the same medicine pad that any of your antibiotics. I mean, we trust the doctors to say this is what I need, and
Right.
then we get into it. And did anybody ever during that time say, be careful, you could become addicted to these? Or
Not like they do today.
not like they do today? No, that's true. We've come a long way, and thank God for it. Thank God for it. But we get there by us doing things like this, letting a story be told, because you've got an amazing story. So I want to get on further into it, because it's remarkable. And so, okay, so now you're suffering. So this starts in 2005. And how long was it before you, and what ended up happening was a doctor, you had words with a nurse, and doctor just said, boom, that's it.
Cut me off from the pain medication, and
then it was it's out for us to be, it's out for us to go to the street. But so many people think, they have this picture of what an addict, a junkie, looks like. And so I'm sure you had that picture maybe in your mind too, before all of a sudden you're getting cut off by this doctor, and now you're like, what do I do? And so
I had a family member that was here in Wilmington that was in the treatment program that told me to come up and stay with her. I had 2 kids, raising 2 kids by myself, so I couldn't let it control my life. I had to control it to take care of my kids.
And so you moved to Wilmington in what?
2007.
2007, and at that time your kids were 13 and 14, which is a very vulnerable time in a kid's life. So I know that had to be a lot on your plate to handle, going through this sickness that you weren't understanding. You knew it had to do with these medicines, but you just weren't understanding what was going on. And describe for us some of the sickness, because a lot of people that watch this have a family member that's addicted, and they don't really know what it's about. So describe how desperate it is, because it's a desperate situation.
Very much. I thought I would absolutely. Well, the coming off the methadone was worse than the pain pills.
Yeah.
Both of them horrible.
Yeah.
The sickness, the diarrhea, the vomiting.
Yep. The jerking legs, the jerking arms,
Restless legs.
the tremors, the hot, the cold, the can't even drink water. It's a horrible. See, a lot of people don't understand the difference between an opioid addiction and an addiction to, say, cocaine or methamphetamines. Not that addiction is a monster no matter what the drug of choice is, but when you get to opiates, you have a severe physical withdrawal. And so that brings a lot of people into medication-assisted treatment programs. And at that time, they prescribed a lot of methadone versus now we've got the Suboxone, and the way the Suboxone is, it is easier to prescribe in each person's body, but the methadone really took its toll on you.
Yeah, I went from 170 pounds to 363 from the methadone, and then they said it was damaging my heart.
And so then again, all of a sudden,
cold turkey cut me off of 90 milligrams of methadone.
And guys, I just want to educate you right now. What we've said something about it just a few minutes ago is the difference in detoxing from pain pills and heroin. It's a very violent week to 2 weeks, but with methadone, it's a very violent, slow torture.
Like a year.
A year. It actually is. It takes a year at least for your body to start regenerating itself. And so it is a very, 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 very hard thing to come off of, and also hard to fight against as far as your recovery. But what had happened to Jennifer just 3 months before she was abruptly cut off of the methadone was that her young son Dylan, who was 20 at the time, was murdered in Greenfield Lake. And if you could tell us just a short little synopsis of that, as I know it's pretty hard for you to still do.
He was shot 4 times, one in the back of the head, and was just left there for dead.
And so you knew something was wrong when he didn't come home
on Saturday morning, or didn't call. I knew something wasn't right. And Saturday, about 4 o'clock, somebody called our house and said they'd found him dead.
Wow. And just as you're going through the grief with no answers and this amazing tragedy in your life, just 90 days after that, all of a sudden your world gets turned upside down again, and you're being told you've got a bad heart, and now we've got to take you off the methadone, and boom, we're doing it like this. And
wanted to replace it with opiates.
Wow.
I refused.
I'm so glad.
I refused it.
That is such an amazing thing for you to do in the face, in the midst of a tragedy like that. You know, most people would have run screaming back to the streets, but you tell me what that thing was on the inside of you that said, no way, no more.
I had beat it, and I wasn't going to let it take over my body again, control my body.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Because you also still had a daughter who was just a year older than Dylan. Because, in fact, your daughter was 1 year older than your son, Dylan. And so now we've gone through all of this with Dylan. You still have no answers. You still have this awful picture in your head. You're still going through those whys. You're still going through all that grief. In the midst of all this now, you have been left to now do a detox program basically on your own.
Yep.
You have a mom that is sick at this point as well, and
she passed 10 months from the day Dylan passed.
So this is where I'm telling you guys, your mind gets blown. So we've got a woman who has been prescribed into addiction, cut off, had a battle on the street, got into a program, got her body stable, you know, wasn't aware of the damage that was happening to her body, but she knew she was going downhill. But again, trust in the system. We've got a young son who dies with there's nothing leading up to this. It's just like this. 3 months after this, you're being cold turkeyed again, going through sickness. And now we're having to go through this. Now you've got a mom that's passing, and now you're in the midst of a sickness. And now what's going on with your daughter? So you kind of go away and stay with some family.
I went back to South Carolina, lived with some of my family for about 8 months,
trying to just kick the sickness and such.
And I completely beat it while I was there.
Amen.
And got a call that Kimberly was on heroin.
So your daughter had stayed there in Wilmington, and at this point she stayed
in Wilmington with her boyfriend.
She was having a lot of problems dealing with her brother's death.
Well, she also lost her dad in the same year.
Oh, wow. So this young girl was suffering too.
And a baby.
Man, there's just a lot of loss there.
With her, she did. She had a lot, as well as myself. But she had I could deal with it better. She was younger.
Right.
But I came back from South Carolina and lived in the woods because I had nowhere to live. But I came to get her off of heroin.
So you know what it's like to be that parent so desperate for your child to beat this monster, and you know what it's like to lay there and worry and wait for that phone call. So let me make this clear to you guys. Here's a mom that has just come from another state after suffering so much loss, and she's now at this desperate place, and she has this one child left, and everything in her is saying, I'll do whatever it takes to save my child from the same demon that tried to take my life. And so you lived in the woods, in a tent, while trying this whole time to get your daughter in a program, correct?
Yep. You
And-
got her in the program
And you got her in, you got her in the same MAT program, the same outpatient program
that I was in.
that you had been in before. And was it, for her, do you think that maybe she was just too young and didn't have enough, I guess, out there experience to really give it up? Do you think maybe that the sadness was still overtaking her and she just couldn't give it up
She
just
done
yet?
good for like the first 4 weeks she was there.
Yeah.
But then I guess it started from there. I thought she was still doing good.
Well, there's so much that we don't understand when we get in MAT programs. There's so much that we don't understand about what's happening in the brain during those times, and there's not enough educated people in those situations to kind of tell us what's going on and how many times the brain has to reset. And sometimes what ends up happening is the inexperienced go back to relapse because they're not aware of what's happening in their brain. So now you're living in the woods. You're doing everything you can. You've got her in a program. You're starting to think that everything's going to be okay, and then tell us what happens.
I get a phone call that she's dead. She had OD'd in her bathroom.
So you got the dreaded phone call that everyone hates and dreads to get, and so now we have come to a place where you have lost every person close to you. Every person close to you. You're free and clear. You're not on any kind of MAT medication. You're not on the street drugs. You're just being fueled by the passion of a mother. And so you've lost everybody close to you. You've lost so much, Jennifer. Tell me, how did you fight relapse, or what kept you from going there during all that time?
I never thought of relapse.
Never thought of it.
No.
You had that passion that you were so done that you were never going to let this thing.
I see my daughter go through that too.
Yeah.
There was no way I could do it. Even with me having none of them today, I still couldn't do it.
That's what I love about you, Jennifer. That's the thing. And I need you guys to understand that that's what wakes me up during the day, because I know that somewhere across town, this young woman right here is getting up and starting her day. And she's not going and chasing, and she's not out trying to look. She's not out relapsing. She's getting up every single day, and she's saying, today I refuse to let relapse be a part of my life. Today I refuse to let the enemy have back the life that he tried to steal from me. So Jennifer has gone through many opportunities to relapse. I mean, it's just plain and simple. And that's what the theme of tonight's video is. And I know we're losing light. You guys got to just understand, we've been through a lot trying to make this video for you tonight. But I refuse to let it go without being said. And I won't let a little bit of light and not enough phone storage and not enough video. We won't let this, or the noises that you hear, we're not going to let this drown out the message. And what the message is here is that relapse doesn't have to be a part of your recovery, no matter what. And that's what I want the theme of tonight's video to be, is that that we have to get to a place where relapse is not an option in our life. Refusing to give in to relapse is what I want to call this video, because if anybody has had a reason, and those of us that have been there could understand, if this woman went out and relapsed, you wouldn't point a finger at her, you would say, I understand. But the fact that she is so determined not to let the enemy have her life, like he took the life of her daughter, and in a lot of ways, probably because the same crowd is probably what ended up ultimately taking the life of her son. These are questions that she doesn't even have answers to, but she gets up every single day and she moves on with her life, and she gets up and she gets herself ready to face the world, and she goes out into a world that is not up for her success, but she goes out and she makes it anyway. This woman doesn't live in the woods anymore. She's not on an MAT program. She is out here clean, serene, and sober. And I love her for that. And if you guys can't find inspiration in that, then I don't know what else you could find it in, because this is my warrior of the year. I love this girl with all of my heart. She gives me purpose to get up, because the purpose I find in her pain is that we continue to share these stories. And we share the story of her son who lost his life, and we share the story of her daughter who lost her life to the same disease that we all struggle with. And yet we have Jennifer saying, no more. I will not fall. I will not relapse. And so I just want you guys to understand that and find some kind of and find some recovery success in that. Find some inspiration in that. And if there's not anyone in your life that you can look to that has inspiration like that, well, then you need to find them. And you know what? Jennifer is hooked up with the Hope and Recovery Network group. She's on the Hope and Recovery Network page. She's one of my most mightiest warriors, and she is a true recovery warrior. And I hope that you, when you watch these videos and you watch our lives and you follow us as we grow, I hope that you will often find strength in Jennifer's story, because that's why she's here sharing it. It's not for anyone to say, poor lady, that's not it. That's not Jennifer. Not at all. Jennifer says, I'll use my life and my experience to hopefully help you make better choices in yours. Or if you've got children that are out there using, I pray that you won't let it go until they get help. You've got to be a support network for them, but we have to be careful not to enable them as well.
Exactly.
And that's a very fine line. And I know if there's probably been a million things you've thought of, if I'd only done this, or if I only not have done that. But what I say is simply this, and it only helps me go through these things a little bit better, is that legacy still lives on, and that there is purpose in that pain. And it's a sad thing for them to be so young and to have lost lives, but they're not lost. They're not lost, because I know they're on this other side cheering you on, knowing how strong and mighty and amazing you are. And they are right there going, Mom, share everything you can about us. Share everything you can about our story. Because you guys really haven't even heard the half of it. Because one day there's going to be a book written for Jennifer and her story and her children, because their lives and their legacies will live on through this. This is what our hope is. That's what Hope and Recovery Network's about. The Rise Up Recovery channel is about refusing to find relapse. You don't have to. Just because you're up against a circumstance or a situation right now, and you think that you don't have any other option but to use, I promise you, there is always another option. Always another option. And I really want to thank Jennifer for being here with us and going through this hard things. It's hard for her to tell this story. It's not easy, guys. Not at all. I mean, she still meets once a year at the exact place where Dylan lost his life, and does a live news remote. We do a little vigil for him, and the news always comes out. We're still looking for answers for this. And Jennifer has to get up every day and live with the fact that she may or may not get those answers, and that's hard for a mom. But Jennifer still gets up every day, and she rushes head on into her recovery, and she gets up with her gratitude list, and she gets up and spends her time making her battle plan. And on a day like Mother's Day, when she could have gotten in so far deep into her pain and just lost herself in her pain, here she is sharing her story with you and me and everyone who will watch this video. And so I beg of you to give it its proper attention, its proper time. Don't look at the quality of this camera. We had better stuff going, but don't look at the quality of this video. What you need to hear is the quality of the passion and the story that's being told here. because this woman is a mighty, triumphant warrior, and she is finding purpose in her pain. And you will see her on a grand scale one day talking to millions of people about the importance of not giving in to relapse. Just because you feel like it doesn't mean you got to follow it down. And there had to be some times in there when you just knew that I could be happy for just these few moments, but you were able to see what was on the backside of that, knowing that these few moments could put me in the exact same place that either I was in or I'd be right there. And so I just applaud you for what you do, for everything that you get up and do. You inspire me every single day. I think of you all the time, and I just want you to know that it is not without true gratitude that I thank you for being here on this Rise Up Recovery channel, sharing your mighty warrior story. You are an amazing woman. You are out of this world, phenomenal, and I just am so grateful to you.
I'm grateful for your live videos every morning.
This is what we do. I love this chick. Listen, guys, I love you too, and I want you to know that if you're suffering, don't suffer in silence. If you're feeling weak, you got to reach out. You've got to tell on those feelings that want to take everything you love and everything you love about yourself and ultimately your life. Remember, it's not just heroin anymore. This is getting very dangerous out here, and it is up to us to create a world of recovery where we talk more about recovery than we do active addiction. And so we will continue to use our voices and our stories, our might, and all the fight we have in us to slay the giant of active addiction, of opioid addiction. And as long as we've got warriors like Jennifer, warriors like myself, and many others of you out there, be willing to stand up where you are and be counted. Be willing to not let the enemy steal one more thing from you. It already tried to steal your life. It already tried to steal your family and everything you love. Now refuse with everything in you to let it have one more piece of your life. All right, we love you, and look for video 3, and this is the